Hello everyone. Today I'm here with a tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make these kinds of envelopes. Money envelopes or Eidi envelopes, whatever you want to call them. I have made a few different styles. So I'll show you how I made all of these, and I'll show you different styles in detail while we get to that particular step. So without further ado, let's get started. To start off, you need a sheet of paper that measures 8 inches by 7.5 inches. So here I have got an 8 by 8 inch paper, and I'll show you how you can cut it. If you're not worried about the print of the paper in particular, you can just cut it out at just cut out half an inch off from one side of 8 by 8 paper. But this paper, it has a design that is sort of central. So in this case, I'm going to show you how you can trim off from both the sides so you don't lose the print. So in this case, we are going to take off 1/4 of an inch from both sides of the paper, so we end up with the exact 7.5. A 1/4 inch strip from this side and a 1/4 inch strip from this side. That gives us a 7.5 inch piece of paper. Just line it up and trim it. So this is a 7.5 inch piece. So along the, sorry if I'm not in view. So along the 7.5 inch side, you are going to score at 1/2 inch on either side. Along the short side, that is the 7.5 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch on either side of your sheet. Turn it around, score at 1/2 inch, or you can do 1/2 inch and 7.5 inch, however you like. So this is the score that we get. And along the 8 inch side, this is the 8 inch side, we are going to make 2 score lines which are at 2 inches and at 5 inches. So there we have it, all the score lines. Now we are going to remove the paper trimmer out of the way. Okay, so you have to be careful of the direction of your paper, because this is the 2 inch side that is going to come all the way around from the top, and this is the bottom side. Okay, let me show you on one of the pieces of paper. Okay, on this one, as you can see, this is the 2 inch side and this is the top flap which opens, and this is the cover flap. Okay, and this is on this side, the 3 inch side. Okay, so if you have a directional print, you have to be careful that you don't you decide which side you want for the front and which side you want for the back. I'll show you what happens when you use a directional print, and for that I suggest that you don't use a directional print because it's going to be a mess. Simple. As you can see in this example, I used a print that has graffiti on it. So as you can see, this is the top flap and this is the flap that goes on the inside, and all of this writing is upside down. But if we move to the back of the envelope, this is the right way around. So if you have a print that goes right way on this side, it's going to turn upside down on this side. If it's right way on this side, it's going to turn upside down on this side. So I suggest that you don't use a directional print, use a print that is that doesn't have any specific direction. Okay, let's move on to our project. So here we have these, I'll show you with the pencil. These are the 1/2 inch flaps that we are going to get rid of. Okay, and then we are going to get miters. Miter the corners on this side and get rid of all the 1/2 inch flaps on the top and the bottom. And we are going to be left with only these little 1/2 inch flaps down the center. Okay, so we are going to cut this along the top, both, and both along the bottom. So let's do it real quick. So as you can see, we are left with only these 2 flaps down the center, and we got rid of the ones that were at the top and at the bottom. So one thing more that you have to do is decide how you are going to deal with the flaps. Let me show you a few examples. On this side, on this envelope, I just punched a decorative punch on this top flap, the flap that is going to come down, and this was cut. I will show you how you are going to cut this one. On this one, I decided to just use this little decorative punch to round the corners, or whatever you want to call this. This is a decorative punch that I used on this one, on both the corners, on the flap on the top flap and on the inside flap as well, but they're not very visible on the inside flap, and it just made a notch down the center here, so you can reach easily inside the envelope. On this one, what I did was I just simply rounded the corners, just rounded the corners. That's it. This one, because I didn't want to lose this pretty paper, and I just did this as an example. There's nothing fancy about it, and I just did a notch down here. And on this one, I did the same, just rounded off the corners, simple, and I used the decorative punch on the inside flap. On this one, I did the same. I did the decorative punch on the top and a notch down the center, on the inside flap. And on this one, I just mitered the corners and rounded them, the top flap. Okay, let me show you. And I just glued this ribbon down so it doesn't go anywhere when you untie it. So this is what I did. I mitered the edges and rounded them, and just a little notch on the inside so it's easier to reach inside the envelope. Okay, so these are a few examples that you can do, and some of them the closures, while we are here we talk about the closures, For some of them I use the ribbon closure just to tie a knot or a bow on the front, and for some of these I used this belly band to go on top like so, and I'm going to decorate the belly band at the end or leave it as it is, but I need to hide the seam, so I might decorate this. Okay, and this one also I'm planning on using a bow, and I embellished it with these flowers that I die cut myself. So moving on back to our project, now all you need to do is you need to decide which kind of a closure you have to make on this one. So for this particular one, I'm going to show you how you can make a notch that goes, let me see which one was it. I'm going to show you how to make this notch right here. This one, it's more visible on this one. Okay, so this is halfway in and half inch in and half inch down and 3/4 of the way in. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can do this if you decide to do this. If you don't, you can simply opt any of the from any of the designs that I've showed you. Okay, so if you decide to opt for the notch that I just showed you, because that's the most tricky one, but it's not hard to do. So you have to come down from this side and mark half inch on the top. Let me get a little bit closer. Okay, and you have to come half inch in from this side as well. Remember, we are just measuring the top side, this side. We are coming half inch in from this side on the top and half inch in from this side on the top, and same way we are going to come half inch down from this side and half inch down from this side. And while taking this in consideration, we are going to measure 3/4 of an inch in here and 3/4 of an inch in on this side. Now we have made 3 marks. As you can see, we've made 3 marks, 1, 2 and 3. So this was just for a guide, and we have to join these 2 marks only. Sorry, that was a pretty crooked line. You just need to join these 2 and these 2. And just make a simple line down here to join all of these. Now you have this type of a line this shape you have got here, and what we have to do with this is remove this all together. You can use your trimmer, or in my case I'm using my cutter. You just line it up and trim this all the way down to this edge and remove the corners like so. Move the corner on this side as well like this, and you're all done. Just a little bit more. So this is what we end up with. Okay, go back out. This is the shape we have got. Now we need to decide what we want to do on the top flap. If you want to do this kind of a notch, all you need to do is just come in 1 inch from either side, 1 inch or 3/4, however much you like. Just come 1 inch in from each side, draw a line from this corner up to the mark that you have made on either sides, like so, and cut it off. But in my case, I'm not going to do this on this particular envelope because I want to keep this whole design. So I am just going to use a decorative corner rounder, and I'm going to use this one, this little one, to round the corners, just like this. And do the same on the other side, although it's not going to be very visible, but it's going to neaten up the corners. Now it's time to carefully burnish all your score lines, and while you're at it, you need to check if it's good or if it's coming off. As you can see, it's just a tiny bit that's coming on just on this score line, so we can trim this now instead of dealing with it later. Just a smidge, just a hair off, like so, so that when you fold the top flap, it's not going to interfere with, or it's not going to cause any trouble. Okay, so it's not going to be that big of a deal, but it's well worth it. So all you need to do is just fold and burnish all the score lines like this, and apply some glue along these flaps. You can use double-sided tape if you have, or if you want to, but I don't have it. I also prefer glue because it's much easier to work with. So just spread the glue evenly all over this flap on both sides, and remember, the one that is wider is going to come on the top. Just bring it over like this and carefully burnish this. You can use the bone folder to help you out. If any glue is oozing out of the edges, just wipe it off and you are good to go. It's just got a little bit of overhang. We can trim this off. Fold it over, and this is your envelope all ready. What you can do is you can use any type of closure. You can use magnetic closure, you can use Velcro, you can use tape, glue. There's tons of different options. You can use a belly band, just as I have. I did on a couple of my projects. So I'm going to show you just real quick how you can make this belly band. Let me grab a piece and I'll show you real quick how you can make this belly band. It's really easy. All you need to do is just bring out a piece of paper, piece of cardstock, whatever you have at hand. Let me just show you with this tiny little piece, then I can use the one that I need. Okay, all you need to do is decide on the width of the belly band. You can go with 1 inch, you can go with 2 inches, you can go with 1.5 inch, however much you like. All you need to do is just put this on top of your envelope and pinch it with your finger on one side, bring it back over and make sure that it's lined up with the other one on the other side. Just bring it round and simply pinch it on this side as well, and glue this whole piece down. It's too long. I'm going to trim it down just a little bit and glue it. Make sure you don't put any glue on the envelope or else it's going to get stuck. There you have it. Your belly band is all set. And for this seam, you can use any type of decorative flowers, decorative elements, any embellishments that you have. Really should slide on nice and snug, and it did. Okay, there you have it, the belly band closure. And I made a few embellishments for other envelopes, so you can use these types of flowers. These are just handmade flowers that I made. I colored yesterday all of these. These are all the embellishments that I'm planning to use on the projects. These are some ferns and leaves and all whatnot. So you can use embellishments, you can use anything at all. These were all the envelopes that I made, and I hope this was helpful because Eid is coming and I decided to make these to give gifts to show your loved ones that you really care about them. It's just an extra special step to show them your love and your appreciation and your care about them. So I hope you like it. I hope it was helpful, and see you next time. Bye.